I'm the division chief of adult psychiatry here at the university, and I'm the medical director of the adult inpatient units here at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute.
In terms of the work at the U in particular, how do you kind of work with the athletes?
So what has happened over the years is that I do a lot of triaging of the athletes and work with like the Jazz. I consult with the Utah Jazz, and then if they have issues, I try to get them to the right people. So those were the people I was trying to get on the call today. We have our outpatient docs. We have some great outpatient docs that work with the athletes, and so they're the ones that follow them on a day-to-day basis. And then if somebody needs hospitalization, then I tend to follow them here in the hospital.
I think in the last couple of years, at least from what I've seen, the stigma around talking about mental health and dealing with it has changed. Have you guys seen that in your inpatient, outpatient work?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this carefully because I think that, yes, I will agree. And that when I started 20 years ago, we were in a much different place in regard to mental health. People didn't talk about it. People hid it. Now we are seeing more people talk about it, but there is still a fairly large stigma surrounding mental health. And we've had some brave people come out, Terry Bradshaw and Kevin Love and Peekaboo Street and a whole bunch of others who have come out and said, yes, I suffer from mental illness, but it still really hasn't translated into people really understanding what that means. And I would bet I have 2 conversations a day with my patients about stigma and how do I tell my family and do I tell my family, and please don't put this on on the letter for back to work. I don't want anybody to know. And so they really still isolate themselves from their support system and put themselves in a position to not be successful when they leave because they are still afraid to talk about it. And we just had a meeting just the other day talking about, because as we're forming the new Huntsman Mental Health Institute, which is really exciting here. And
I want to hear more about that in a minute.
Trying to figure out where we're going. One of the things is, how do we tackle stigma? And I will tell you that by the mere fact that the Huntsman put their name next to the word mental health is going to do wonders for how we attack stigma in this country. Because if that prominent of a family can say, this is what we support and this is what we're behind and here is our name right next to it, then we are going down the right road, I think, to really do what's best for everybody, not just athletes, but for everybody who suffers from mental illness.
In your opinion, what are some ways that people can stay mentally healthy? What are things we could be doing?
Great question. And I think there's some really good stuff, easy stuff that we can do. And most of it people already do in some respects. But I think that things that people forget, we get busy. You have to make connections. You have to have connections with people. This last year has been terrible, right? I mean, all of us have been hiding out in our homes and afraid to go out. And we do all of this through Zoom, which is great because we can get places, but we miss that face-to-face time with people. And so connections, having connections, making time for friends, a great way to stay healthy. Diet, of course, people talk about that all the time, but good, healthy diet, exercise, a good sleep routine, mindfulness activities, yoga, meditation, music, whatever turns you on that way to get you calm and keep you going. And then, of course, managing your personal health, regular follow-ups with your providers to make sure you're doing okay. And then the family, if you can get your family together, no matter what that looks like for you, and family means different things to different people. But I think it's super important. I'm all for apps. I think, in fact, I think my wife might use Headspace, if that's not too personal of information, but she loves to meditate and she's always loved to meditate. And she loves the Headspace app. and thinks it works really well. I personally haven't used it because my meditation is karaoke. So when I have a bad day,
go-to song?
Oh man, I have about a 4-hour set that I do when it's really a bad day. It's usually 80s stuff, but so yeah, it's that's my stress relief, and I really enjoy doing that, and I think that that's what we all have to find. And but I think
whatever it is that can remove some of that stress.
That's right, and whatever makes you feel good. And if you can walk away from whatever you just did and go, okay, I'm back, and recharge, then you've done the right thing. But Headspace, yes, I hear about it. I hear good things. It's awesome. I'm glad to see that MLS is doing some things to kind of make sure their players are their mental health is being addressed.